Hi everyone, it's Brian here. Back to you, but not using AI to clone my voice for all of it. It's been a long time since I did one of these. Also, the microphone quality will be somewhat formidable, simply put. It kind of sounds like the mic quality of the Lenovo tablet I used to record back in 2022. So, let's not drag on about irrelevant shit about mic quality for far too long. Let's get into today's topic. Now let me get into foreshadowing arts. The craft of sharpening prescience and predictability skills by using foreshadowing itself as a central literary weapon. Foreshadowing is mainly used in this way. Foreshadowing is often meant to be an indication of future events from a similar yet less significant and smaller one in the past, especially in patterns of culture shock, whether that's the first, second, or third of all three of them for each cycle. Foreshadowing isn't reasoning in and of itself. It's not a justification for why a future event or future events happen. Foreshadowing is simply taking what happened in the past, combining common dynamics and topical denominators, taking current events as guidance and giving it all the same treatment as the present being treated like the past by having the future itself being treated like it's today. Foreshadowing is primarily used to justify that the past events in question have happened, and hence the future events themselves, or the future event itself, is the ultimate proof of said past event through foreshadowing alone, not including the aforementioned topical denominators and common dynamics. Here's the example. Do you guys and gals remember mentioning that bit of foreshadowing I initially missed in the video about my initial predictions of the culture shock of 2025, but for Canada? And did you all also remember my reaction to that when I initially thought of the prospect of it making my prediction for 2025 a whole lot more interesting? About the whole Trump planning to or planned to disinvite Democrats and people he didn't personally invite to his Christmas Eve and Day dinner. I sure as hell do. And do you all want to know why I brought that up initially then, like I just did right now? Because he actually did end up doing all of that, hence why the first of 3 culture shocks happened in the first place. Because it has everything to do with the very topical dynamics and denominators like demoralization, religious persecution, feigned or not, culture shock, mass death, and Christmas dinner when it comes to the roast game in the past, as it does with falling maple orange in the future. It's because Canada now has everything to do with the very common political, socioeconomic, communistic, environmental, and cult-like societal decay that it embraces before FMO, as the Jonestown Commune had before the mass suicide. Finally, it's because traditional Christmas dinner history has everything to do with commercialization in general, lack of strong traditional anchoring of history that isn't forged to justify commercialized competition as tradition itself, and culture shock being the central cause of its disruption just as strongly as it will be the central cause of its end. To put it simply, if it doesn't have common themes, topical dynamics/denominators, and a linear line of progression, there's no foreshadowing. You're not foreshadowing an event you have the faintest gut feeling about, you're not prescient, and you sure as shit ain't forecasting anything. Because either there was no past event that could possibly be brought about or justified by things that had everything to do with why a future event happened, or there was no past event to be foreshadowed on top of by a future event to begin with, because there's no such future event to be forecasted.
I have made a shitload of predictions as to falling maple orange as an upcoming event, but there are still a shitload of unpredictable and unforeseen events that have yet to happen even after that.
Like who Vance picks as VP, the implementation of co-autonomocracies after I entertained the concept of it, what will happen with the land, whether the fuck or not some deranged Americans choose to go down with the dying Canadians in solidarity despite Trump. Not just fast and starve for the entire day, what the actual total death toll will look like, how it'll all go down in history, how the coldest places of what will no longer be Canada be used as plenty of landmass for thousands of military AI data centers, used for intelligence gathering, target prioritizing, etc., and even whether or not it'll be the territory of the UK, with former provinces British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario, France, former provinces Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, Japan, with former territories Yukon, Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and the former province Prince Edward Island, and even the United States of America, Former provinces Alberta and Newfoundland and Labrador.
But all of that is yet to be foreseen, yet to unfold, and yet to even happen before the fact, only to be just as likely to have occurred after the fact. And that, my furries and people, is why I made this video. And one last thing that is absolutely important as to the aforementioned denominators and dynamics. If both past, present, and future events aren't parallel in a way where the writing on the wall is there before it's written, then foreshadowing is useless and irrelevant. Because had I not told you about any of this, I'd have nothing to prove. I'd have nothing to say, and I'm glad that's not the case. Before I end this video, I'll say a few short things. Number 1, I'm currently working on taking GED tests in the future to eventually get my GED high school diploma equivalent. And number 2, the next short-form rant will either be about Pearson VUE's on-View app or something else entirely. I have been Brian Mullins the Fox, and I am out.